Welcome back to Gals Night. I'm Maggie Galelli.
And I'm Juliana Galelli.
And we're back.
We're back, guys. Welcome. Have a seat. Get a drink open.
Yes.
We're going to get into it as always. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being here.
I know it's been a couple weeks. We've been on our bi-weekly lifestyle. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's been
going
nice.
good.
It's been nice, but I miss it. I miss it on Fridays.
I know.
So we're starting off strong with our favorite Olipop. I mean, it's my favorite. Would you
Me
say
too.
it's like
Yeah.
moved up to your favorite?
Yeah, 100%.
It's the best. I even went on the website and ordered a 12-pack of it. I drank that already in like 12 days, and now I need more. It's apple crisp, or crisp apple. I always call it apple crisp.
Don't get it confused.
Don't get it twisted. Crisp apple. And
It is the best.
it really just tastes like apple juice, like carbonated apple juice. Yeah, like cider, sparkling
But
cider.
who doesn't like apple juice? Like, it's so good.
No, it's so good. I
You
think
need
about
to
it.
try
I'll be
it.
at work and I'm like, I just want to crack open an Olipop when I get home. It's
so
my favorite.
good.
Okay, here we go. Wait, so I feel like more and more lately, I've been going down these rabbit holes and just all of these conspiracies that certain brands aren't as healthy as they say they are.
Mm-hmm.
And even though the ingredients look good, like even Siete was on there, not just because they
Really?
sold, but because they had traces of lead,
Oh,
arsenic,
you know why?
because they're root.
Cassava.
Yeah,
like
the
yes,
cassava.
plants.
I went down this whole rabbit hole.
Yes.
But a lot of brands were dirty.
Yes.
Because
Nothing
I guess
is
you
good.
can't. Nothing's good
Because
because
it's from the
even-
ground and it's
from the-
absorbing
exactly.
the lead and all the
Wow, we're both
toxins.
crazy.
Well, because no, because one day I was making jovial pasta, and it's made from cassava flour.
I eat that too.
And there was a lead warning on the box, and I was like, "Oh
Nuh-uh.
my god!" I was like, "Why? Why
gosh,
would
I'm
there be
screaming.
lead?" And it's because the cassava plant.
Is that
right?
what took you down the rabbit
Yeah,
hole?
that's when I realized, and then I was like, "Oh, I probably shouldn't be eating this all the time. Like, it might not be much better than regular pasta."
Right.
Because I'm like, now I'm getting lead, and lead is like terrible
There was
for you.
like
so
Siete has high
traces of lead.
traces of it.
Yeah.
And it's not organic. I mean, I always thought that about Siete, but I'm like, you know what? Better than eating
Right,
some
right.
processed chemicals and things like that. But really, there is so many like toxic
Yeah. Nothing is good.
things in the soil.
Yes. Yep.
And
I know.
cassava's like a big, and that's one of our biggest things. I feel like
Uh-huh.
I always go for cassava stuff
I
because it's
know.
really good.
I was like, I should probably stop
Cassava
eating
pasta,
this.
cassava tortillas, cassava
Right?
chips.
It's crazy.
Isn't it? I know, but then I'm like, you know what?
You can't overthink
You
it.
really can't give
overthink it.
everything up. But then I just got worried. I'm like, it's all my favorite things. All my favorite things that I thought were,
Right.
better for you. But Olipop, I'm not giving up this crisp apple.
No.
It is just everything for fall. It's everything you need. It's always sold out at Target. It's always, Jul's got her hands on it, but every time I go, it's sold out, and you can order it on their website, and they'll literally deliver you a 12-pack. It's beautiful.
You need it. It's perfect. So cheers.
Cheers.
Please go get one. They're so good.
Yeah, it's definitely my favorite flavor. It rocks. It rocks.
Rocks my socks
It
off.
totally rocks. I don't know why I said rocks.
Totally rocks.
Dude, this friggin' rocks.
It really does. Olipop. Olipop. Yep. Olipop, please sponsor us.
Oh, please.
We love you.
I love you so much.
Anywho,
Okay,
so
let's get into it.
for today's episode, I kind of went down, not a rabbit hole, but I was kind of in my feels.
Have you ever been in your feels before or something like that?
I was saying, like, does your birthday ever get you in your feels?
Oh, yeah,
like,
every
in
year.
a good and a bad way. Like, I was really riding a high, and then I was kind of riding a low afterwards. And I was kind of like, I don't know, I was just in my feels, like, reflecting on everything. My birthday was this past Saturday. So I said to Maggie, we should do, like, a birthday-themed episode, like, reflecting on previous years, getting older, lessons we've learned. I know we're not, like, that old and wise and have gray hair, but just things we've...
Speak for yourself. Got a couple stragglers
No.
popping in.
But just, like, things we've learned along the way, being in our, like, mid-ish 20s, and,
I'm
don't-
me-ish.
No. That's not what I mean.
Mid-ish 20s.
No.
Just kidding. I'm late 20s. Oh my God. That's like a weird thing to deal with. I do struggle with that when you get to
Right.
like, I feel like you're 24, but I started feeling it when I was 25. I'm like, ooh, now we're on the other side of it.
So you're telling me you have 30 minutes. 30.
No, like, I just felt it when I was 25, and I was like, oh, we're like tipping over on the other end of the 20s.
It's like weird. Like after 21, I don't know. It's just like, I don't know how to describe it. Like 21 is like the peak moment, and then 22 was, just 22 and just 23 and just
But
24.
I will say,
like,
I'm like trying to be more comfortable with being a younger adult. Like, you don't have to be super young. You don't realize how young you are until you're a little bit older. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep,
And
100%.
like, I just feel like now that I'm like getting up there,
Shut up.
I just feel like I see people as younger than I always did. Like
Right.
people in their 30s, like I'm just like, oh my God, you're still so young. I always thought I was like, all right, life's over.
Right.
30,
Right. That's the other thing.
pack it
too.
in, throw in the towel, you're done. Like I don't know. I've always been the youngest person. Like I'm the youngest person in my family. So like getting older for us youngins is always the hardest thing.
It is hard.
Like I know, like everyone's always like, oh my baby, like you're the baby.
Right.
So when you start getting to a certain age, you're like, I'm young. It was my whole identity. Like, what am I if I'm not
That's
the baby?
So true.
You know?
Yeah.
Do you
That's
feel that
kinda
way
how I
being the
feel.
youngest?
Yeah. 100%.
So anyways, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. But yeah, I felt like when I was younger, I always wanted to be like this age and older. Like I was like, oh, if I was only 18 or 21 or 23, like I feel like I'm like, I went from 23 to 24. It doesn't really feel any different in a sense, but like I feel like I like this point of adulthood where
It's
like
funny that you're saying this because I think you're so young, but I remember turning 24 and I specifically posted a TikTok. It was during COVID. And I was like watching the One Direction movie and I was like, how am I going to be 24? This is so embarrassing. And I'm watching the One Direction movie. Whatever, it still is embarrassing. But I just remember thinking like, I am so old. Like I remember just thinking like, oh my God, I'm too old to even be on TikTok. I'm too old to, like I just thought I was so old, but you're really not.
right.
I think like your mid and late 20s is so awesome because you have big
Yeah.
people money
Yeah, exactly. It's a fun time
and
to be
and
like
young people everything else.
Were you the one who were like we're toddlers in adult years or something?
Yes.
Like it's so true. Like we really are.
Really, like I'm really only 10 years old
In adult years.
in adult years.
What am I?
You're only 6.
I'm only 6.
You're only in
So we're
first
going
grade.
from 18.
Yeah.
I loved first grade.
Really? What was your first grade experience like?
I loved it.
Wait, stop.
Yeah,
Yay.
he's a first grade teacher.
Did you
Duh.
have a good teacher?
Yes. I still remember her.
What was
to
she
this
like?
day.
Oh my gosh,
She was
really?
the best. Yes.
Aw,
I loved
that's so
first grade.
cute.
Just so you know, you have an
Wait,
impact
I
on
feel
them.
like I feel like I don't remember that much from like kindergarten and first grade.
Before
I don't know
first
what's
grade, I
wrong.
don't really remember.
Yeah, like
anything.
I have like a couple memories of kindergarten, but like I can't, if I
Baby
really
nap
sit
time.
and think about it, I can't really like, I can pluck like 10 memories.
Yeah.
But I was there 180 days.
Right,
There's
it's
so
so
many things
weird.
that happen. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
First grade, I can pluck like 5 memories, I feel like.
Wait, but even as we're getting older, I can barely like remember like middle school and high school. Like
High school too, like I swear my friends will always say, like Michelle will be like, remember that time and then she'll say the
Right?
most out of pocket thing. And I was like, I was not there. There's no way. She
Right?
goes, you were there. I'm
it's
like,
weird.
you're
You start to like
joking.
not forget things,
Yeah.
but like they're not as prevalent in your mind. So like you're not thinking about it all the time. So it kind of like fades. You know,
I guess that's true. You're not
thinking about it as often as you used to. So, anyways,
And that's probably why I have the same 10 memories.
right.
That just
It's like
clicked for me.
like
It's the same ones that
staple
stuck.
Yeah.
And then the rest I just let fade. I had to make room for other things.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
That's crazy.
You're right. I just thought I had a horrible memory.
No, I
But it's
just
really
think
just my
it's
memory
not,
working.
like- Yeah. Like you're obviously gonna remember something you do like all the time, or like that's some like super prevalent in your life right now, like this routine, or like something at work. Like you know what I mean? Like
I do wonder why certain memories have stuck. Like certain ones are super random. I remember we would have to bring a towel to nap time. Mario is screaming right now. We had to bring a towel to nap time, and I had a Bugs
I
Life
remember
towel.
nap time too.
Yeah. And I remember
That's
this one
cute.
kid was bad, and he would crawl around. And I
Like,
just remember
bother
that.
everyone.
Yeah. I remember nap time.
Me too, for some
I,
reason.
for some reason, remember
It's like
making
photographic.
the first time I learned how to write the number 4. I don't
That's
know why,
crazy.
just number 4. I think I remember because I was like struggling with it, because some 4s are open and some 4s are closed, and I'm like, which one? I just remember thinking that in my brain. I don't know why that memory stuck. Just certain things. It's weird. Memory is weird.
It is.
I took a whole college course on memory, and it was really fascinating.
That is very fascinating.
It is.
Crazy when you really sit and reflect and try and think about every little
And certain
thing.
memories that we have are not always exactly the way we remember it. Like sometimes we add details, and we have a lot of false memories. Like people just, that's a fact.
Grand delusions? No, just kidding.
False memories are super real, and you can actually, there was this whole experiment that you can put false memories on people. Like if you show, like they Photoshop people on a hot air balloon and like showed it to them, and then like started to like tell them all the details about it, and the more they thought about it, the more that they
Like,
thought it was a
believed it?
memory. Yeah. They're like,
That's
oh
so
yeah, like
interesting.
I think I do remember that. But that was just kind of like a simulation in their brain. It's crazy. So sometimes I'm like, was that even how I remembered it? Anyways, I go off on these tangents. Carry on.
No, this is what we were talking about. But yeah. So I thought it would be a good idea for each of us to pick like a few pieces of like you had to put your mic down to refrain.
I know. I
No,
really did.
stop.
I did. I was like, I
She's
need
like,
to stop
I'm in
talking.
timeout.
I need to stop talking.
She put her mic on the couch.
You know why I was thinking that in my brain? Because I listen on the Spotify and I'm like, it's just me talking for so long. Jewel can't even get a word in.
No.
So I was just like, Maggie, just like relax.
It's not true. It's not true. Sorry. We digress. But I was thinking maybe we could each put together a few pieces of advice or lessons that we've acquired and learned. Not that we're like super old and experienced and like know everything, but things that, we want to share with you guys. And this episode is inspired by, oh my God, I'm going to mess up his name, Jay Shetty.
I
Love his podcast.
Yeah, he's so good.
And he did a similar episode, and I was like, I really like that. So we wanted to take our own little spin on it. So that is the message behind today's episode. And yeah, thank you. Thank you. I always say, thanks for listening.
Are you
Thanks for
leaving?
your time.
Yeah. Are you
My
leaving?
friends always make fun of
Thank
me. And you're watching Disney Channel.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I feel like we had the same first one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
Go ahead.
surrounding yourself with people who lift you up.
Mm-hmm.
That is so important. I feel like it's true that you really do become like the people you surround yourself with. Like whether you realize it or not, you pick up little things from those people
100%.
and their moods and their habits and their mentality and their perspective can really rub off on you. So you have to be careful. It's kind of like how you have to be careful with everything you're ingesting, what you're eating, what you're watching, it's the same thing with the people that you're surrounding yourself with. And I think it's important to also look at like who is rooting for you, who's cheering you on, and who's happy for you when you're happy, who's sad for you when you're sad, who's there for you when you really need it.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
Yes.
What did you want to say about that?
A similar approach, but more of the fact of like people come and go in life as life changes. Mm-hmm. And I think that's like a normal thing. I think we kind of like scrutinize it and like can get upset about it and like,
Yes.
Like harp on it and like, just kind of like we're hard on ourselves about it. But I think it's kind of just the nature of life. Like as we move through different phases of life, like people come and go, and that can be a good thing, and that can be, a sad thing also. But I think it's important to see who's still around through everything.
That's what I was gonna say too. Is
Yeah.
that I feel like you and I are similar in that we're always busy. We're always trying to do a lot of things that we want to do and that's important to us. And that can tend to make people upset. You know what I mean? Or like, you know, that you don't have time for certain people or whatever the case may be. And life changes, like you said, like from high school to college to
Right.
work life. And
it's only natural.
and
that,
people who really know you and know your intentions will understand.
Yeah.
And
100%.
those are the people you need.
Right. Exactly.
Not people who are going to make up stories about you and assume certain things about you and what your intentions were and weren't and make up stories and, you know, things like that. I think
exactly.
it's, you know, like sometimes it's really just not that deep. Like it's just, as
100%.
we're busy
It's
or like
just
we're
the
living life,
seasons of
you know?
life that changes. Yeah. And it's like almost normal that like you're going to be super close with the people you work with at that job for that time being.
Yes.
And then you leave the
It's
job.
not
Everyone
personal.
takes their own, you know, different road. Like, and that's
Just- I
normal. And then
think-
you find new people. Like, I think it just goes
And I can
with.
empathize with the other perspective of like, but that's a lesson that I had to learn too. I definitely learned this when I was younger with friendships. It's don't take things personally because you can make stories up and be like, okay, well, they didn't invite me to this thing. Like, I feel like I used to do that when I was in high school.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't get invited here. Do they not like me? Do they not, you know what I mean? Like, do they
Right,
not care about me? Or,
100%.
you know what I mean? Stop doing that. 99% of the time, that it's not like that. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
Or, you know, people aren't doing those things on purpose. But
Right.
yeah, I so agree.
I think Jay Shetty, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Why do I feel like I'm gonna mess up his name? He said it that a history does not equal a future.
I love that. I love
So-
that. That's so cool.
I think that's a great way to put it. Like, just because you had a past or like a, you know, your relationship really thrived and blossomed and everything was great in the past and maybe something may have happened or they don't kind of coincide with your future and your future goals and this chapter of your life, it doesn't warrant a future if, you know, if things happen to be that way. That can go for anything, for relationships, for
I so agree
anything.
with that. I
So-
think that is such a good line.
he really
think
killed
that-
it. With
He
that
did
one.
kill it with that.
He killed it with that one.
And
So
like, I don't know. This might sound crazy, but I feel like nobody is entitled to you at all. Like, period. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I always love when people say too, like, doesn't matter if they're your blood. Like, if they're toxic, they're toxic. It doesn't matter. That doesn't really apply to me, fortunately. But like, I see people say that, and I'm like, that's so true. Like, if your family member or like, it doesn't matter who's mistreating you in your life. Like, you have every right to say no, or like, I don't want to be treated like that, or like, just because we have history or just because we have blood, yeah, it doesn't warrant anything. Like, you're not entitled to treat me any way you want, or
exactly.
you know what I mean? So
Exactly.
I like that line. That's like a good way to sum it up. Like, yeah.
That's that on
And
that.
your life will be so much happier if you have people cheering you on and, you know, are there for you when you really need it. It's nice. Very
100%.
nice. What was your second lesson that you had?
My second one is huge. I feel like this is such a huge point. Like for
Okay.
me right now.
Drop
and
it. Drop the
You're
bomb.
gonna agree. It's you have to focus on your health like your life depends on it. Because it does.
Slay.
Because it does.
It actually does. I love that.
It really does. I mean, literally, it does. And I feel like this past year, going into my new age of 24. No.
Oh my God, she's so old. Look at her. She's so old. She's just like decrepit over there.
This past year was like really big in like health for me. Had some chronic new issues that are chronic that I've been dealing with, and I don't really like share much about it. But you know, things happen no matter what age you are and for reasons that we can't explain. And you kind of just have to deal with the cards that you're dealt. I tried to ignore it for a really long time, and that was like a bad move. Not even a long time, but I was like, oh, I'm young, like it'll go away, like I'll be fine, like nothing's gonna happen to me. Kind of like that invincible like motto, like, you know, how a lot of us think because we're in our 20s and we're like, nothing's gonna happen to us, that's crazy. And then it does, and you're like, wow, okay, like I need to wake up.
I always realize that like nurses I know and people in the medical field are always like the most chill about stuff. Do you know
And
what I mean?
that's like
Like you're like,
my advice. Like,
I just like saw someone with their like
Right.
guts hanging out. I'm cool.
exactly.
You know what I mean? Like whatever.
Right. It's like retrospective. It's like, wow, like people have worse things than I
Yeah,
do.
but you don't want to dismiss your own. You
Right,
know what I mean? Like it
exactly.
causes you to just be like, oh, whatever I've got going on is nothing. But it's really,
Exactly.
it is big.
Everything
it's a big deal.
is a big deal. It's your body, and you should take it 100% seriously. So if you feel like something's off, or you don't feel right, or if you know you may have an issue going on or something, like address it, because now is going to affect the future like so much. So if we treat our bodies good now, we won't have these problems, or we'll have less problems down the line. I think we've talked about this before, but
And
like,
I think, I think I was just going to say, I think I've said this and it doesn't make sense when I try to describe it to anyone, but it's a thought I have. I feel like my friend Michelle will get it and I think you'll get it. Okay. So when it comes to like health or like losing weight or doing things for your health or doing things for losing weight or whatever it is, I feel like since we don't see the results right that minute after you're doing it,
so true.
a lot of people put it off. Am I doing a good job explaining this? Okay.
Yeah.
It's like the instant
sense.
gratification
Yes. thing.
Like I was thinking about this. This thought popped into my brain when I was taking in my groceries that were melting. So like I had like ice cream or something, it's melting. So I was like, no way would I ever just like certain things you have to do right away. Like I have to brush my hair if it's naughty or it's going to be in dreadlocks. I have to take in my groceries when they're melting like right away. If we could lose 30 pounds every time we ate a celery stalk, we'd do it right then and there. But I think if you put it in the forefront of your mind, like picture yourself healthy when you're old, picture yourself in whatever physique you want to be in, like keep that picture in your brain when you're going to do those things, because it's so easy to just say, oh God, it doesn't even matter because that's not going to happen for like, I'm 90, like I'm 28, like whatever. I don't have to think about that right now, but you'll regret it once you get there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's just you're right though. Start thinking about it now.
Yes.
I also feel that way with like retirement. They always come every year and they're like, do you want a retirement plan? I'm like, I have to be here for the next 40 years. Like I'm not really thinking about it, but like I probably should be. Anyways.
Yeah, I have one of those.
I mean, I have a pension, but they also said like,
oh yeah,
like a,
I'm not good
like
in finance or
a
any of that.
403B or something. And I was like, I don't.
If you're looking for financial advice,
this is
not the place.
I'm like, retirement?
401ks,
Ew.
retirement plans.
I just spent $60 on soda.
I know nothing about that. So I'm not your gal.
Anywho, I totally agree. You're right.
Yeah.
You're 100% right.
So do something good for your health. Invest in whatever. I'm not even going to get into it. You know what to do. You know what you need to do. Just be conscious. Don't overthink it at the same time, but just be conscious and aware and realize that we are so young, but also this time is so important.
Sometimes I think mental health can be even more important, like anxiety, stress, like de-stressing is just as important. Like don't go and stress about it overly.
Right.
I think definitely getting treated for my anxiety like changed the quality of my life, and like I was always scared to like, I don't know, get treatment and do things like that, but the stress was doing way worse things for me than the treatment ever would. So yeah, I think that's so important. Your life will change. You'll be happier and less stress, and yeah, take care of you all the way, mentally and physically.
Exactly. That's
It's
a great
really,
way
really important
to put it.
I said boundaries are so important, and I think that I'm trying to get better about this. Like my temperament naturally is just like a people pleaser. I never really like to get into, confrontations with people. I don't want people to be mad at me. Like that's just like how I honestly was born. I've been that way since I can remember. And I realize though sometimes that doesn't make me happy. Just saying like yesing everyone to death and, so definitely like putting up boundaries, like saying no, like it's okay to say no. And people who get mad about that, like they aren't your people. And yeah, I feel like you have to teach people how to treat you. If there's like, if
somebody's doing something that you don't like it's okay to say like, no, like, or like, I'm not interested in that, or I don't like when you talk to me like that. It doesn't always have to be confrontational, but I think you can do it in a kind way and like just be strong, and you can still be kind and say no to things. You can still be kind and like have strong boundaries. And
100%.
yeah, like I feel like I'm still working on it, because like even today someone came into my room and asked me to do something at work, and I was like, oh, sure. And then I turned to my co-teacher and I'm like, oh my God, I don't think I have time to do that. Like, I don't, and then she goes, you're so nice. Like, I would have said no. And I'm like, I know, but
Right.
I just,
Yeah, it's just the type of
I don't want,
person, yeah.
I don't want to hurt people's feelings, but sometimes it just ends up worse. Like, it's just better to be direct sometimes. And like, I'm really working on that, but it's a lesson that I had to learn. Like, yeah, I think that's important.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's
I need to
hard.
work on
It's
that too.
hard.
Yeah. It is hard.
But it's worth it. It's worth it. And you'll feel empowered. Because I feel like some people, like people in your life, there's different personalities out there. And to each their own. But if like a personality isn't vibing with you and they want you to like kind of like fall in line or like kind of like boss you around or whatever, any sort of treatment that you don't like, you can say no to that. And it's okay. Like, it doesn't make you a bad person. Like, I think that that's definitely important. Protect yourself. Protect your energy.
What she said.
Period. What was your next one?
We also talk about this a lot, but the importance of being grounded and present. I feel like that's something I've learned to be more conscious and aware of over the past, year or two. Just because I feel like I'm at this point in my life where I'm like fulfilled, but I also have like a lot to look forward to. But I feel like when you're younger, like you always have like your whole life set out for you and like planned out for you. Like, oh, once I'm done this, I'll go here, I'll go to school, or I'll go to this. And, I got through nursing school, and then it's like I'll pass my NCLEX and I'll get my job. And now I have like a steady job. I've been there for 2 years. And I'm kind of just like, I'm fulfilled, but I feel this like need to like want to do more. And I think that's not a bad thing, but I'm always looking for like something next. I'm like, should I go back to school? Should I do something like bigger and better? Like I just need to like, be present and be content and reflect on how far I have come already and all the things I have wanted to achieve. Cause I'm always like anxious, like what can I do better or bigger or next? Or like, I feel like I need to be doing something to feel even more fulfilled and achieved. I'm kind of at that like lull, and I'm like, I'm not working towards anything actively, if that makes sense, like a physical thing, like a degree or like my master's or, so I'm kind of in just of like that, like up in the air of like, what do I want to do? But it's also okay to like have, a job or just be set in whatever you're doing. And like, that's it. Like, that's okay. Am I explaining that right? Like,
oh my God, I am so agreeing. It's like making me realize things about myself.
Like,
it's making me realize that like we're addicted to that.
Yeah, it's like the thrill of like wanting to do better.
It
like
kind of, for me at least, like boosts my self-esteem when I can like break down a barrier and like do something I didn't think I could do.
Right.
Which is cool. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. But also, like, you don't always have to be striving towards something bigger.
Right.
Or better. Like, just
exactly knowing what you have right now is enough. Like,
right.
And be content.
You
with
have
that
enough.
Yes.
You do enough. You are enough.
Right.
Like, period, where you are.
Exactly.
And
I think it's
struggle
not a
with
bad
that too.
thing. Don't think it's a bad thing that we feel the need to
I'm
do
always
better.
Like,
and bigger
should
things.
I wake up and like, should I start a business?
Right.
Like today?
Right. Like, should I like? I need to own a business, or like just like like working is not enough. Like, I need to like be the owner, or like
exactly.
one degree is not enough. I need another one, or like I need to go back to school, or like I feel the need to like.
And I think we have also like that like antsy personality of like
Right.
I don't think it's a bad thing either, but I definitely think for me I need to be like reflect where I am. I can kind of like have this lens of like all of my faults, like where I'm lacking, and really hone in on that instead of being like, oh my God, I've always wanted to be a teacher here and like I'm doing it. You know what I mean? Like once I got there, it was like, okay, what's next?
Right.
like
Right.
you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, just like live in this moment. Like you've always
Right.
wanted this thing, you know what I mean? And
Right.
it doesn't matter where you are, what you're doing, even if you didn't reach the thing you wanted to reach, like you are enough, you do enough, you have enough.
Right. Exactly. So
Yeah.
just being
That's a good one.
even more present and fulfilled with where I am, because it is enough. Like it's like more than
Plenty.
enough.
It's
Like,
plenty,
you know what
yeah.
I mean? So that goes for anything, really. Like, you know, I'm not even gonna go even more into it, but you get it. You get it. So
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like the goal is ultimately like happiness. And how do you achieve happiness like right where you are?
right.
You know what I mean? Like I
Mhm.
feel like we need to learn how to do that. I
you got?
said this is a little bit confusing, but it's okay, so I said kind of learning that you are always evolving. There's always room to grow. And that you don't have to put yourself in a box or let other people put you in a box. What I mean by that is that if you're told your whole life that you're a certain way, like you're irresponsible or you're disorganized, you like kind of carry all of these labels with you your whole life. And I notice if you talk to yourself a certain way or if people say things about you a certain way, you internalize these labels and you identify as, say, like disorganized. You know what I mean? And I've had to unlearn, like kind of strip myself of all these labels, things that other people have said about me, things that I say about myself on a daily basis, and start fresh and just be like, you know what? I'm not disorganized. It's sometimes I feel disorganized or sometimes things around me are disorganized or, you know what I mean? Like stripping yourself of those labels because when you really put yourself in a box, you're not going to go anywhere. You're going to be stagnant. You're not going to achieve the things that you want to achieve. And like people can change. And I believe that. Like, I think there's always these sayings like, oh, people never change. Like, I genuinely believe that they do and can and will if they're willing to put in the work. So, if you're willing to put in the work, you can change anything about yourself. I genuinely believe that. So, yeah, you're always changing and growing, and don't label yourself any sort of way. Watch the way that you talk to yourself about yourself,
100%.
and don't let other people define you either. Strip yourself of all those labels, and just yeah. I think that's important.
So
like,
good.
yeah,
No,
like
it's true.
that's it. Period.
That is it.
Okay. You're up.
Oh, oop. I guess it kind of goes off of yours a little bit. I know this is super cheesy and like, I'm like, whatever. Like, I'm no genius for saying this.
I ain't no genius.
I'm not, nothing crazy. Just stepping out of the comfort zone. Solid advice, Jewel. Thank you.
Oh
I've
my
never
God,
heard
I
that
say
before.
this every day.
But it's so true. If you told me, like, when I was in middle school or high school or something, that I'd be a nurse, doing a podcast, doing whatever I want on social media and whatnot, like, be like, haha.
No, it's probably like the best lesson
Good.
that I've learned. You're right.
Like,
Just do
you
it.
would laugh at yourself. Yeah. Like, just literally just do it. Step
That's
out of your
really
comfort
actually,
zone.
if we had to sum it up, like you made me just have like another epiphany. Like if really to sum this whole thing up, like if I were to tell like a young person one thing, like someone 10 years younger than me or someone entering their 20s, like just do the thing. Just start the thing.
Just do it. Even if you're so
Even
unsure
small
about it.
things.
Like, and like in the moment, it might be like, oh my God, this is crazy. Or like, there's no way. Like, or like you're overthinking and worrying about it. Like, you're not
Well,
even
you're
gonna worry
going-
about it in like.
Oh my gosh, and you can
A
talk
month.
yourself. The way that your brain can talk you out of things
Yeah.
is so crazy.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
have to learn how to turn that off. You have to just take one foot and step in the door, go to the interview. Step in the door, do the spin class. These are all my examples. But like, you know what I mean? Just like
Yeah.
do the thing.
Just do it. And like people are gonna try and break you down along the way. I have to bring this up. When I walked in the door, I was cracking up to Maggie. This is kind of not on topic, but like it kind of is because people are always gonna have something to say or like, who do they think they are? Or like, whatever. But somebody commented, so funny, on one of our clips and was like, holy bleep. They really let anyone start a podcast these days.
No, like,
and it kind of ate.
so
it was
valid,
funny.
like so valid.
And it's
though.
true. Like, I mean, it's
But
funny.
why
It's
feel
funny.
the need to type that? Well, it is valid. I feel like I always joke about that. I'm like, me and Jul like have a podcast, like
But I mean, like, yeah, we are.
not to like diminish us, but I
No.
just think it's like so like random.
It is.
But
It
it's
is,
so
like,
fun.
valid, but it's fun and it's something we like to do. So like, if it's something you want to do, just go for it. Like,
People are always going
who
to say
cares?
stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does not
And as
matter who
my
you
mom
are.
would always tell me when I'm little, they're just jealous of you. Did your mom tell you that too? I feel like that's like the go-to. Like,
Yeah.
if someone's like, they're just jealous, Joel.
Yeah. Well, like they're
No,
clearly
but-
unhappy with themselves in some way. People. I'm not saying that person in particular.
No, yeah.
But yeah, like people in general
Yeah.
who say stuff.
But just go for it because it really doesn't matter. Like, it's not gonna matter. And like, I can't even tell you what I was worrying about last month. I was probably like on the verge of like a mental breakdown over something that I'm not even like, I can't even like think about right now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, things that we stress over and think are so like do or die, or like, oh my God, this could happen and this could happen. Like, and then it never happens and everything ends up being okay, because in the end, everything does end up being okay. So just take that leap. Do whatever it is you're thinking about doing. Make a video, post a video.
Yeah.
take that
little
class,
things
go
too,
to-
even.
Yeah.
Like just like oh my gosh, just the way like even social media, it's probably even worse these days. But like how I would be like, oh my God, that's embarrassing. Like I should delete that. Or you know what I mean?
100%.
Who cares?
It don't matter.
And you're not going to be everyone's cup of tea, and that's okay. But you're going to be, you're going to find your people, and you're going to be some people's cups of tea.
That's right.
Yeah. And whatever.
Yes.
Just do it and just have fun. And you're going to regret not doing it.
Right.
And it's so meaningless. Like, really,
Mm-hmm.
what people say and what people think and how many likes you have and like all these little things. It's really so meaningless. What in the big picture. So, yeah. I agree with that.
That's that on that.
Does that on that. What else do I have? Kind of going along with this whole social media thing is like I wrote down comparison kills happiness, and that's something I've definitely struggled with a lot, like especially with social media. I mean, again, we're not geniuses. This is all like very, very generic, but it is something to, I feel like a lot of times really like people drop wisdom. Like the most generic sayings are
Right. Or so far.
so overused and they're just so fire. They're like, stop and actually smell the rose. Like,
yeah.
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Poetry.
Yeah, like
No.
getting out of
It's
your
good,
comfort
yeah.
zone. Okay, we hear that all the time, blah, blah,
But
blah.
you have to like really think
But,
about
like,
it and
stop.
like apply it to yourself and reflect. Like, and that's when it becomes meaningful.
Right.
So we can
and
like
I
throw
will,
all of this at you. But like if
and
you
you're going
don't
to be
actually
like, okay, these basic, generic.
yeah. And then you'll close the video and you'll be like, and you'll forget about it in like 5 minutes. But
They
like,
say, they're
really-
saying everything everybody else is
Right.
saying. There's a reason everybody else is saying it.
Exactly, because you've never had one unique experience ever. Like we all can apply this.
And like I guess maybe I don't know if that's just like when I was a teenager, I'm like, oh my God, all these corny things like my parents say. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like
right.
my
You're
mom would
like, I
always
wanna
be like,
hear
do
it.
not be you, do not compare yourself to others. And I'm like, oh my God, come on, Mom, with that tired saying.
Right.
But
yeah.
it's so true. Like just be yourself. Don't compare yourself to other people. And I do this a lot, especially with my job or, you know, where I want to be in life. Like you can't compare your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter like 20 or 5 or even 2. Do you know what I mean? Everyone has their crosses to bear and everybody has
Crosses to bear.
yeah, and
My
everyone
mom says that.
I know.
I thought she was the only person who says that.
Wait, stop. I say that. I have all these little sayings, but everybody has something
Yes,
going on.
That's true.
And everybody has insecurities and everybody we're all in the same boat at the end of the day, and
Right.
I just think that worrying so much about other people and what they're doing and what they're up to and neglecting yourself is just it's never going to make you happy ever, no matter how hard you try. So yeah,
I like that.
so that's hard. I feel like too some people forget that they
were never new at something, or they never, I've said this before in this podcast, but like, I mean, whether
So
it be like
true.
nursing or teaching or yada yada, like, if you're brand new at something, like, give yourself time, give yourself grace.
Yes.
Like I said, like,
100%.
you're on chapter 1 and you're
Yes.
however old in adult years.
Yes, exactly.
You're just navigating this life the
And
same way everybody else
yes,
is,
no
and the
one
same
else
way
has it figured
everybody else
out.
has at one point.
Right.
You know what I mean? No one was just born with it all figured out.
No, it's everyone's first time living. I love seeing
Yeah.
that on TikTok. Like, it's your mom's first time. It's your dad's
I know,
first time
that's
living
sad.
too. And it is really sad to think about. But like, also, like, no one knows it all. Like, we still don't know it all. As we're sitting here talking to you, these are things like we've kind of acquired or feel. But like, there's still so much. I know there's still so much ahead of me that I'm gonna learn, and I'll probably watch this back in like 10 years and be like, if only she knew. So I'm trying to, foreshadow 10 years ago when I said if only little me knew that. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
there's still so much that we don't know is going to happen, or, like, so much to achieve and things that are still going to come. And that's like the beauty of it, not like worrying so much about what's next, not worrying so much about the past, being present, but, like, there's so much figuring out to do still.
And I teach this to my first graders, and it sounds so silly, but like, just like about being yourself, because I see a lot of times in the classroom, some of the kids just want to copy another kid, or they're, not much of a leader. They're more so like trying to figure out who they are and what they like, and they, go along with what other people say. And we're always just saying, like, be you, like, like, your uniqueness, like, is your superpower. And, like, watching all of these like personalities come together is so special.
Yes.
And like, there's nobody else like you. And it's so silly, but it's true. Do you know what I mean? It's
Yes.
not like, like I said, you're not going to be everyone's cup of tea. You're not going to be for everyone, but you are for something. Like, you are for someone or for something. You're needed
100%.
somewhere. There's a reason you are here and you are who you are. So if you're just trying to like be like someone else all the time or worry about someone else, it's like you're missing out on that magic of like what's meant for you and like who you are. So like, just try to
Right.
explore that. And it's okay. Like, some of the things I feel like I'm into and I like are like corny, or like some people think it's like embarrassing or whatever. But whatever makes you happy makes you happy. And if anyone wants to judge that, then that's silly.
It's silly.
It's not me. That's not nice.
It's not nice. Not nice. Not nice.
No. So yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
That is pretty much my big hitters. Did you have anything else you wanted to touch on?
I wrote being optimistic. Like, I think someone out there might think like, I'm not saying that I have like a good, like, we have good lives, like, or anything like that. I'm just saying, like, someone out there might be like, with a pessimistic vibe, might say like, easy for you to say, like, you have a job or you have this or you have that. Like, I do think no matter where you are, you should try to be optimistic, because I think no matter who you are, what you have, you can make growth and make progress. And it might take you longer than some people, and that's like a real shame. But I think just having like, like I said, like, with that lens, stop focusing on all of your faults, what's lacking in your life, really start thinking about what you have and what you can do with what you have, and kind of keep going. I've said that a lot on this podcast, but the possibilities are absolutely endless. I believe that with all my heart, so
I like that.
being optimistic, have a sunny disposition.
Funny disposition.
It will make you happier in life. Put on the lens, change those lenses to your sunny ones, and
Like that.
see what happens.
Yeah.
And that's really all I wrote, too. I think that's all I have.
That's good. That was some good tea. Even if it's not your birthday, I know it says the birthday episode, it's still good to, like, no matter what point you're at, just sit down and reflect, listen to this, take the advice, whatever applies to you, and use this time, this 45 minutes, this hour, whatever this is, to be selfish with your time and just reflect on you and, be thankful for how far you've come, how far you have to go, and,
I feel like
just
this
have a
episode
positive
is-
outlook.
This episode is the perfect episode to take a walk.
Yeah.
I love listening to episodes like this on a walk. take a
Yes.
walk, get a little drink, go for like a nice like sunset walk after work or whatever, and
Journal.
reflect,
something.
kind of unplug. You don't have to be watching this. You could just be listening and think about what you've learned and what you want to work on.
Yes. Whatever age or point in life you may be at, this can apply to you. This can apply to anyone.
In 2 weeks, it'll be nearing Halloween.
Spooky
Ooh,
season.
spooky.
In full swing.
Yes, so get ready for a spooky episode.
If you have anything you want to submit, maybe I'll throw a poll up. You'll see what we mean.
Yes.
We're going to do a little jump scare spooky episode. So
Oh, it's
a little cringe.
truly spooky. But yeah, I think that's all we have. I hope you have an amazing day, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Later, home gals.